Good Monday to everybody in COM 731. Welcome to, are you ready for this week? Boom, bam, 15. You are almost there. I think that calls for a little extra caffeination. Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Visit if you can. Okay, you nearly made it. This last week is our last week before your papers are due and your final exam comes up. Okay, your papers, that is the second part, due on December 3rd, worth 310 points. And then your final examination, by popular demand, it will be open from December 6th all the way up to the close of December 7th, and will be 250 points and is cumulative. How do you prepare for this exam? Well, you go back and you read all of the discussion boards, you watch the videos, and for the discussion boards in particular, be familiar with any terms that we threw out there, and likewise be able to articulate and grapple with any of the concepts. So, for example, all right, if you were, I should say, in the format is going to be true, false, multiple choice, some fill in the blank, and then short essay. Okay. So, for example, let's say, you go through and you review all of the discussion boards, and you take a look at the definitions of, say, offered by Hoke and Tapcott and everybody else, and you're able to, say, grapple with a concept like Hoke and Bear, true or false. Hoke and Bear say it's of the utmost importance to give employees, what, in order to allow them time and space to do the work they need. Okay, to talk about what's important to talk about in order to give employees the time and space that they need to get their job done. Okay, or as that'd be like a true false. Or say, for instance, you might have a multiple choice question that would go something like, or let's say you have an essay question, which would go something like, according to Hoke, why is personal identity an important variable when understanding how people make connections in an organization? These sorts of things. So you could both define a term. Okay, like, how would you define layers of progress, or how do the authors define layers of progress? And what are the two layers of progress? So you'd be able to define those, as well as have a discussion of, say, what are the four caricatures of roles played out by people in organizations? Stuff like that. All right. If you can do that, all right, then you're ready for the exam. So the way to get ready is to go back, read through the discussion boards, make sure that you understand any terms that are used, and that you can discuss, any of the major concepts that the authors have thrown out, and you're going to do fine. Okay. You'll have 2 hours to do the exam, and it's it's kind of a one-way deal. Once you start it, you have to finish it. 250 points possible, so there'll be about 50-ish questions. I hate to have to emphasize this, but please do your own work. This is a closed book, closed note, no internet exam. And I had a problem in another class, not this one, with an exam that I gave this semester. And the problem was that it was quite clear that people were pulling text off of internet sources and dropping it in as part of either, the short answer or it's, I mean, that it in the module, it lists the question as essay, but it's short answer or fill in the blank. Be aware. Again, I really hate this, but be aware that I use a variety of software to scan the entirety of the World Wide Web and check the content and contexts of written answers. It just runs through and scans the whole thing. And if there's anything that looks remotely like a match, then you're going to get a 0. We just, we especially now, as we move more into AI popping up and people using that, we have to focus as Christian leaders on authenticity. One of the, a slight divergence, slight tangent. One of the fascinating aspects about the relationship between the early Christians and the non-Christian world, and this is well worth your time digging into this history if you never have before. Now, although it's somewhat antiquated, Gibbon, who wrote the great multi-volume work, The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, I think he published it in 1777 or 76, something like that. Anyway, he does a good job of treating this, but there are a number of sources. But anyhow, one of the stark differences between the early Christians and the non-Christian world, that the non-Christians they just could not understand. They did not understand why these Christians, and for most of the non-Christian world, they were just another Jewish sect, as far as they knew, because Jesus of Nazareth was a Jew. And so to the non-Christian, non-Jewish world, it's like, oh yeah, here's another, rabbi. Anyway, what they couldn't get their head around was why was it that these Christians just didn't go through the motions? Why didn't they show up and offer the incense and pay homage to the statue of the emperor? Why did they get so wound up about these sorts of things? Well, the reason was central to the Christian message and Christian life is authenticity. It's the problematic part of our behavior begins in here. So bearing that in mind, be authentic. Don't copy anything off the internet. I want to hear your work, even if your answer is incomplete. I always give partial credit. You take a stab at it, okay? But don't troll somewhere and grab answers, because anyone that does that, and you will be found out. You can't escape. I mean, I've been, I know your voice now after having read your material for the whole semester. So between the software and my 30 years of teaching experience, odds are you're going to get caught. And then I'm going to give you a 0, which I don't want to do. I don't even want to talk about it. Okay. So let's not talk about that. Let's talk about you wrapping up this semester and having a great last couple of weeks. And with that in mind, great last couple of weeks, no readings this week. Hey, focus on finishing your papers, focus on getting ready for the exam, and have a great week. And I'll see you on Canvas. Okay. Bye-bye.